like you're in the middle of this huge, powerful body of water, and you are static, and everything is changing around you, and you feel so powerless and powerful at the same time, and it's deeply humbling, which is a great pair with being a musician because we're always, being told, "Oh, so great, you sounded awesome," blah blah blah, and then you get into the river or the ocean, and you get slammed, and it's like, "Oh, I'm just a little human."
From northern New York, western Vermont, Ontario, Quebec, and beyond, this is Northwards from North Country Public Radio. Introducing you to people you should know, stories you should hear, and ideas that should stick in your mind. I'm Mitch Tyke, and our producer is Ethan Shanty.
Support for the Northwards podcast comes from the J.C. Steiniger and M.E. McDonald Charitable Fund at the Adirondack Community Foundation in support of the Adirondack Community Foundation, building stronger Adirondack communities.
Ethan, you're a touring musician.
That's true. And as we are airing this conversation, I am on tour.
It's funny because you look like you're sitting right in front of me.
Well, we're recording in the future to accommodate for me being on tour. It's my first tour with a new band.
Oh,
Yeah.
really?
Yes. This is my second band with my friend Jeff. It is called Guess the Name.
It's called Guess the Name?
No, I'm telling you to guess the name.
Oh, this is
of the
not
band.
an Abbott and Costello routine.
No, it's not.
Is it called that thing that's on the sticker on the back of your truck?
Horsegrave?
Yeah.
No. Horsegrave is another band. They're better than us. I could say that. They are. The name of my other band is called...
Mucus Fest.
You're pretty close.
Am I?
Yes, surprisingly. It's called Spit Vision.
I was pretty close.
That's incredible. Yeah, so me and my friend Jeff started this band because he booked shows in Utica. I booked shows in Potsdam. And he had a band drop a show last minute. And so he reached out to me and he said, I wrote a bunch of songs. Do you want to start a band, practice one time, and play a show? And I said, not really, but I'll do it. And the only reason I said not really is because the day of the show, I also had a tattoo appointment booked. So, but love my friend Jeff, so I said yes.
And the show is in Utica?
It was in Utica. So the day of the show, I had a tattoo appointment in Syracuse. I got the tattoo, a tattoo of Hank Scorpio from The Simpsons on my left thigh. Then I immediately got in the car, drove from Syracuse to Utica, and we played the show. And the most amazing thing happened. I always am really anxious before I play in any band. I mean, I've been doing it my entire life, but I still have some nerves before we play. But I'd gotten tattooed, and so my body had expelled all of those chemicals. So I was just cool as a cucumber. Even though we had practiced those songs one time ever, I was like, yeah, it'll be totally fine. And it was totally fine. Except when I play the drums, I have a tendency to punch my leg as I bring my hand down.
That probably would have hurt that day.
So it didn't hurt because I was just in the zone. But what happened was I basically punched all of the fresh ink out of my brand new tattoo. So it's the only time that I've ever had to have a tattoo completely touched up. So this band started kind of we'll be like a one-off thing. We'll do fill-ins. And then we just sort of, by accident, ended up writing a bunch of rockin' tunes. And then we went to a studio to record an album. It was every other time I've gone into the studio, we have prepared to a nauseating degree because we record live. Most bands do it track by track, and you have every opportunity in the world to fix your mistakes. But in order to save money and kind of capture the live feel, we decide to play live. So there are mistakes. If somebody in your band makes a mistake, you got to start all over or start from a verse or whatever. It requires that you are laser focused. But with this band, we kind of didn't even know how many songs we were going to record when we went into the studio, which was a lot of fun.
So instead of laser focus, spit vision.
Spit vision, exactly. But it made for a much more fluid recording experience. And the album is almost done. We're going on tour even though we have no music really to promote. We're just doing it. We'll be gone for 6 days, hitting up a spot in Utica. We'll be in Rhode Island. We'll be in Ohio. We'll be in Pennsylvania. We'll be in Virginia. A lot of traveling over 6 days. Yeah.
What is the new album called?
It is called "The Morning Has Gold in Its Mouth," which is have you seen The Shining?
Yes,
The
yes, I
Shining
have
was
seen The
probably
Shining.
one
Yeah.
of the last horror movies you
Yeah,
watched.
right, exactly.
So
while it was out in the theater.
right. So in The Shining, there's this famous scene where Wendy Torrance, Jack Torrance's wife, stumbles upon his typewriter, which allegedly has a page from the novel he's been working diligently on. But what she discovers is that he has just been writing the phrase, all work and no play makes Jack a dull boy, like thousands and thousands of times. So that phrase doesn't make a lot of sense in other languages. So when it was translated into Italian, Japanese, French, German, they used other phrases that corresponded to a similar notion in that language. And the Italian version is the morning has gold in its mouth. And I thought that was a lot of fun.
That's actually that's a really good story.
Thank you.
You should tell that on this podcast sometime.
I'm telling it right now. I've just told it.
So what is the vehicle you will be driving on this tour?
So it's all kind of aligned perfectly. Jeff travels for work. He is a fiber optic tech. So his job requires that he flies to different locations, gets a rental car, and then travels to the fiber optic site so he can test their equipment and stuff. So
is he testing fiber optic equipment while you were on tour?
No, I actually did suggest that. I was like, it'd be a great way for you to still make some money while we're touring. But the job requires that he pays for all of this stuff up front on his own credit card, and then he's reimbursed. So he racks up all of these rental car points and all of these hotel points, which is perfect for us because he never goes on vacation because his vacation is being home with his cats and his girlfriend. So when we go on tour, he's like, well, I might as well use these points because they're not for anything else. So we're renting a minivan, and then our stops will take us to different hotels that we also will not pay for.
Wow.
It's perfect.
It's like you did this with Spit Vision.
Yes, we did it with Spit Vision. And like the thing we're gonna talk to this musician in just a little bit, but being on the road is really difficult. Oftentimes when you're just starting out, you don't know where you're staying for the night. You don't know how much money you're going to make at a gig. You don't know what you're eating for dinner that night. And for a person with anxiety like I am, all of those unknowns can increase your anxiety. So having a lot of those things taken care of makes for a much more easy breezy fun time.
Well, presumably that is why, bands further along have managers so that these are things that they don't have to think of.
Yep. And they have that manager book the tour bus and make all of the accommodations overnight and take care of the catering and all of that stuff. But when you're a small band like we are, you have to do all of that stuff on your own. So yeah, the playing music part is fun, but the rest of it feels like administrative work sometimes. And, I think I'm okay at it, but I don't enjoy it.
Well, it's not why you got into music.
No, absolutely not. I just want to play the drums really fast and really loud. You're not a touring musician, though.
No, I'm not. But I for this week's episode of Northwards, I talked with a touring musician.
Yeah.
In fact, the interview I did with her, I was in a studio here at North Country Public Radio, and she had not planned it this way, but she was joining me from her van that she takes to her gigs.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was reading about this album that she just released in the last few weeks called Big Time Roller Coaster Feeling. And interestingly, the producer on this album was somebody we've had on the show before, Connor Seidel, who has a studio north of Montreal. And the information I was reading, it sounds really exciting, doesn't it? She apparently, she drove to the studio and stayed in her van while she was producing the album. And I thought, well, that doesn't sound like much fun. And then it turned out that through some bizarre circumstances, which we'll talk about in the interview, she was doing this interview with me from her van 10 feet in the air in a repair shop.
So the van is not only her mode of transportation, it's her home while she's on tour.
It is her home while she's on tour. And she talks about why that works so well. And the inside of the van is beautiful. She was saying, and what she loves about it is that she can park in a beautiful location and feel completely unplugged from the tour that she's on.
That's awesome.
And I really believe it looking at the inside of it. We will have pictures of the inside of this van at ncpr.org/northwards. But first, you should listen to the interview with Mia Kelly, who joins us from a repair shop someplace in Gatineau, Quebec. Mia Kelly, welcome to Northwards.
Thank you so much for having me.
How does the place you live shape your music?
It is a significant part of my songwriting. I've grown up on the banks of the Ottawa River, otherwise known as the Kitchissippi, and I've written many a love song dedicated to the river, and so that is in a way, you know, where I live and has shaped my songwriting. But also, I live extremely nomadically, and I'm tuning in to this interview from my van that I live in. And so, the place that I live is so, I don't know, I've spent so many nights on the road in hotel rooms in my van than I have in my bed over the last 5 years. So very much inspired by like the road and the people you encounter along the way.
I hadn't intended to ask about this, but you are in your van, and we should note that you're not just in your van right now. You're in your van 10 feet up in the air while your brakes are getting repaired.
It's true. It's a first for me, for sure.
Your van looks totally cozy, though.
It is incredible. It is it's such a cozy little cave in here, and it has all the storage I need for touring and all my instruments and my gear and my merch. But then also has space for I have a fridge and I have a sink and I have, a hot water heater, which means I have hot showers, and I have like a cooking stove, and there's swivel seats. So there's a lot of like it's just like a tiny house, really. And it's amazing. I get to take breaks from long driving days and just pull over and have a nap in my bed. And it's awesome. I am really grateful, and it's a lifestyle that really works for me because I'm moving so much, and having like your creature comforts on you on the road with you all the time is the best thing ever.
Well, and it's a lot different than like trying to stoke creativity from a sanitized hotel room.
Totally looking over, highway whatever and a really ugly parking lot. No, I get to park next to rivers, and I've woken up next to waterfalls unbeknownst to me because I rolled in there at 1 a.m. thinking it would just be a nice natural spot, and lo and behold, there's a waterfall when I wake up. And I get to park at trailheads, and there's that kind of trope of van life where people are like, oh, you're always in Walmart parking lots, but I've never been in a Walmart parking lot. I've just parked in beautiful places. It's kind of the trick to making it fulfilling and worthwhile. So yeah
I bet. Going back to Ottawa, even though you go from place to place, but going back to Ottawa for a minute, is it complicated to write songs in a place that is multilingual? I mean, you're from Gatineau, but for example, on this latest album, with only one exception, the album is an Anglophone album.
Yeah, I think there always will be a French song. It's such a huge part of my identity and my artistic identity as well. But it's never a choice. I'm just writing songs about things that have happened in whichever language they've happened in. So if I'm writing about a breakup that happened with someone who speaks English, the song will come out in English. And if I'm writing about, a grief that I'm experiencing in French, the song will come out in French. And so it's complicated to navigate the industry side a lot more than it is to just write, because the writing part comes naturally. It's more the, Quebec and rest of Canada operate so differently on the music industry side. So that's a bit of a bigger trick. Yeah.
You feel like you can express yourself equally well in English and in French, or in the same way?
Yeah, it's kind of funny. I did all my schooling until Cégep, so college, in French, and my dad is Francophone, but my mom is Anglophone, and I'm very close with my grandparents on both sides of my family, and my life has really evolved in both languages. So I feel really comfortable, but also because I think culturally my life has shifted and trended a lot more English in the last couple of years, just because of the nature of where I've been touring. I've been touring in the UK and Australia, and cultivated a lot of friendships and relationships in English. A lot of my cultural references are English, and so writing in French kind of feels like not a challenge, but it's also just such a different language. It's so poetic, it's so complicated, it is so beautiful. And so I think the results, even if I were to like write about the exact same topic, the results in English versus writing in French are just coming out so differently, because they're such different languages.
Yeah. Well, so let's talk about expressing yourself in general, because the first song on this album speaks to a pretty big question about ideas and creativity and sort of grabbing them when you can.
Like a horse running wild, like the song of a child, like a fever in the night, like a match burns, only for a moment, gone before you know it. If you catch it by the tail, holy grail.
Yeah, it's a song. I was reading a book that my sister recommended to me, and she'd recommended it to me for the last couple of years, and she was like referring to it as like her Bible. And my sister's amazing and creative and wonderful and intense, and so I was like, okay, whatever, your Bible. Then I read it, and it made sense to me why she referred to it as that way, because we grew up in such a creative family. And it's a book called Big Magic by Elizabeth Gilbert. It's basically a conversation about how to have a healthy relationship with your creativity and how to foster it and how to leave the doors open in your mind and in your songwriting practice or your writing practice or your sculpture practice or whatever practice it is that you have that is creative. You know, creativity is this non-tangible, magical thing that occupies a similar space, I'm sure, to, you know, religion in other families. In my family, we're like a family of artists. I have parents who would have been disappointed if I were a doctor, kind of thing, you know. And so to have this book that helps you learn how to harness this non-tangible, like ethereal, connective thing that we're all experiencing was really, really cool. And that book really inspired me. And the way she speaks about ideas and how she kind of references different artists that she knows and how they come and capture ideas. Whether that's, this is one that I loved very much, which is an artist that she knew that sat at the dining room table whenever she was having writer's block. And she would dress up and put on her nicest clothes and put on makeup and put on earrings and put on her best shoes. And she was just like, well, if I'm not presenting myself to the ideas in my best way, how can I expect them to present themselves to me in their best way? And just like these really whimsical and beautiful ways of thinking about creativity and yeah.
Did it annoy your sister that it took you 2 years to read this book that she had been talking about for so long?
Yes. Yeah. But also, we're always yelling at each other to like consume some content that one loved and the other has just not had time to do. And I've been telling her to watch this beautiful animated movie that I think is going to make her weep, but she's just been like pushing it off, and eventually she'll watch it, and it'll be great.
You actually wrote a song about her.
I did write a song about my sister. Yeah.
That kind of speaks to the you know, you live on the same planet but maybe in different worlds. Is that a way to put it?
Yeah, my sister is beautifully strong and steadfast in her advocacy for everything that is right in the world.
Berries from the same branch, bearing different ways. She's a stand-up woman in a sit-down room, swaying seas to win the moon. Her August voice rings clear till June. She's a stand-up woman in a sit-down room.
And she does it in instances that can be uncomfortable, and she does it in instances where it's a lot easier to say nothing. And she is just has a super strong moral compass. And like we've had a couple fight or flight kind of instances that we've both been witness to, and I shrink and my sister like expands and protects. And it's something that I've been, you know, in awe of and also protected by over the last couple of years. And so it's kind of a dedication to her and to that part of her spirit, which is just so protective and righteous and impressive. And it's cool to see like how, we were raised by the same parents. We are very similar in a lot of ways. And we are so, so, so dissimilar in so many ways. And it's like, that is just wild.
So, is there any one way to describe how your songs come to life?
When I have an idea, I will go to the end of it. And not that it's rare that I'm having ideas, but it's rare that I'm having that moment of like, ooh, I have melody and lyric happening right now. And when that happens, it's like you have to capitalize now. And
pull the
it's
van
like,
over.
No, like you're joking, but that
No.
has happened many times where it's like pulling the van over, grabbing the guitar from the back of the van, sitting in the front, like in the passenger seat, and like something spills out. Everything, it just kind of like overflows, and it's not very elegant in its process, I'm not like sitting at my study and letting these songs come out of me, pulling them out beautifully. It's just like, it's almost like needing to throw up. It's like, oh my God, it's happening now. It's
like giving
but
birth.
I try to, well, it is. And it's like, idea of birth. And, but I try to chase them and kind of get to the bottom of the idea, whether it's a good one or not. Yeah, it's something I don't have very much control over, similarly to like which language I'm speaking in or I'm writing in. It feels like, in Harry Potter where they're like, the wand chooses the wizard. It's like, I'm not choosing those songs. They're like coming into, they just noticing that my heart and mind and space, I had space for their idea. And so they come in and I get to be the host, I'm having to put together some songwriting workshops that I'm going to be doing this summer. And I'm nervous because I don't know how to teach something that I don't know how to explain how it comes to me. It's like, it just flies in here. I don't know. So it'll be interesting. Yeah.
Where does collaboration come in when your process is like that? Because I realize that you can tell I'm an American because I say process and you say process, and people will just have to cope with that. But I know at least one of the songs on here was a collaborative effort with Blair Dunlop, and of course you worked with Connor Seidel, who has been on this show as well.
Amazing.
Yeah, and so at a certain point you have to let somebody else in on that process.
Yeah, it's as kind of urgent as it is. I'm not precious about it, and I think to be precious about it kills a lot of the art. And I think sharing in that process is one of the best things you can do for your artistic practice, because you're letting someone in and you're letting them get their hands all over it and take it in a better or worse idea, but in a different direction, And so Blair and I have done we've written a bunch of songs together. The first one of which we wrote over Zoom after becoming friends at a conference, and he lives in the UK. And then we've done 3 or 4 tours together. And so on tour, that kind of just flows. And I remember the song that you're referencing, Feet of the Moon, which we wrote together.
I wish it was easy, it's not 'cause it's you. For years I've been meaning to tell you the truth. Come round for the evening and we'll lie on the floor.
We're listening to a lot of Gillian Welch and Dave Rawlings, and we wanted to we were so inspired by them and wanted to emulate one of their songs, and I don't think we did. I don't think Seat of the Moon is even vaguely, Gillian Welch or Dave Rawlings-esque, but that was the original kind of spark. And then I came with a line that I've been wanting to include in the song, which was between you and me and the dogs in the room.
It's now or it's never. I've been biting my tongue before it's forever, and you're off in the sun between you and me and the dogs in the room. I'd follow your light like the sea to the moon. wish you were mine.
And then from there, we had this idea of like having a really intimate conversation with someone, and then how can, where can that narratively go? And we started it in someone's living room at a house concert the next morning. And then we drove like 5 hours that day. And in the car, we were just like pinging back and forth, like potential lines of what these two characters could be saying during this conversation, which ended up being about unrequited love. And it was a really cool process because it was like we were like writing a play or something. It was it was just, oh, what if this happens, and what if like, oh, this is how they're feeling when this happens, and then we built it up and then pared it down, which is a great way to write.
Like the sea to the moon. Now wind's in your sails for someone else, and that's fine. I'll tell you now, I wish you were mine. Between you and me.
Yeah.
And when did the music come in?
We'd started with the guitars in the morning, and so we had kind of a loose chorus verse ideas. And then when we got to the venue that we were playing at that night, we sat in the green room and finished it, and then sound checked and played the song during sound check.
That's the thing that always just blows me away about, I was going to say, people like you, songwriters. Like the idea, I mean, it's the idea that an idea will come simultaneously or complementary or whatever in words, and then this other language of music is just mind-boggling.
I know. Me too. That's why this book. And I think just the whole concept, because I think creating is one thing, but then pulling from a space that you don't even know where is coming from, because it's not like I have huge theory background. I have none. I have very like self-taught, contemporary approach to music, which is like learning a bunch of covers and also just writing my own songs starting quite young. So it's not like I have, all of this theoretic knowledge to be pulling from and quote unquote speaking that language of music in a way that is, your chord structures really well, and your theory and your approach, and the 1-4-5 chord, and this is like, I'm not thinking about that ever. And so it's just being like, I don't know where this is coming from. It's just a melody. It just came. It's like, it's a crazy thing. I agree. It's just magical.
But I wonder if you knew all those things in your world, whether that would be like limiting. You would throw ideas out because you thought, oh, well, this doesn't work for this piece of theory.
Totally. I've wondered that. And I did contemplate going to university for music, but then I think quickly realized that I think it would suck the joy out of it for me.
I thought you were just going to say it suck. It would suck.
It would suck. No, I think it would be fascinating, but I think it would have distracted me from my career, which I think is at a further place than it would have been had I gone to university for school, and also would have made me more cerebral about creating music, which I think it's good to be, to always improve and to always, improve your technical skills, and to learn and be open to learning. But I think for me, maybe getting stuck into theory would kill the magic.
So the album is called Big Time Roller Coaster Feeling, and I gather that the title track is about the spark of falling in love. But the album itself is kind of a roller coaster when I was thinking about it. I mean, there's some really joyful songs, but then it goes into some really somber places. There are actually 2 songs on this album, one after the other, that are about medical assistance and dying.
Yeah. I know. It was. It was.
You wrote them.
Yeah, Mitch. I know. I would have expected to have 2 songs on that topic, but my dad is a documentary filmmaker, and he basically followed a woman that he used to know in high school who reached out and asked him to tell her story, which was basically that she had been suffering of chronic illness and pain for 30 years and had decided to end her life. So yeah, my dad was following this woman's story and her end of life. He was documenting the last 3 months of her life, which were beautiful. And it is a really challenging topic because so many people, it's a really controversial thing. And especially for someone who she was not dying, she was in pain. And that is something that we in Quebec are like kind of world leaders in MAID. And so it's something that got integrated in Quebec a couple years ago, and I think elsewhere in the world now. But it is a controversial topic, and it is a challenging thing to grapple with. And when I'd never been in that situation where I was witnessing someone schedule their death and the end of their life. And it was really hard to come to terms with, but also like beautiful. And she got to go out on her own terms and she got to do everything that she wanted to do. And she was peaceful and she was happy. And oftentimes when people, I learned a lot about MAID through this process, but oftentimes patients will become a lot happier in their end of life after they've made the decision because they have there's light at the end of the tunnel, there's end to their suffering. And so um, it is a really obviously heavy topic, but I wanted to approach it with kind of levity. And so there's two perspectives in the songs, Medicine, which is from her loved ones who are like witnessing her and having to grieve her and watch her go, and Le Vent qui m'emmènera, which is from her perspective and her saying, don't be afraid for me because I'm not afraid at all. I'm not afraid. She wasn't. She was looking forward to it and she was hilarious and super funny through the whole process. So you'd ask her, why did you choose December 2nd? And she was like, well, I'm not available on December 3rd. And you're like,
Je pourrais pointer du doigt les moments où j'ai voulu quitter la rive. J'attends depuis longtemps que le vent qui m'emmènera ailleurs arrive. Je danserai mes derniers pas. J'ai la chance d'avoir le choix qui me délivre. N'aie pas peur, je n'ai pas peur que le vent qui m'emmènera ailleurs arrive.
so it was just really interesting and a bit really emotional for my dad and for my family. And so yeah, that's where those two songs came from.
Yeah. Well, before they drive your car out of the garage, I have one more question for you that I think I learned from your previous album. Are you a river surfer?
I am a river surfer.
Tell me about what is that like? I mean, because like if you surf the ocean, you have like the tides are controlling the waves. And if I remember, so I did a story years and years ago about people who surfed Lake Michigan, and like all the waves are caused by the wind and they just come at you one after another after another.
It's brutal. I've surfed some lakes, but I learned how to surf, and I've surfed in the ocean, but I've learned how to surf in the river that runs in front of my house, the Ottawa. And it's basically, again, feels magical. It is standing waves. And so they're created by current and the riverbed, the shape of the riverbed. And so the rocks and the everything that's happening underneath the water.
So standing waves, you're staying in one place while you're surfing.
You're standing in one place. So well, in one place, you're in about, depending on the wave, you have 1 to 2.5 meters of like play, but you're going side to side facing a river that is rushing towards you. So you're facing upstream and it's passing underneath you. And so it's a really hard thing to conceptualize if you've never seen it before, but it's like similarly to kayaks on standing waves, which is a lot more common, I think, but we have big enough and powerful enough waves that we can be on surfboards. And so we have this tiny, beautiful, tight-knit community of river surfing in Gatineau and Ottawa, Gatineau. And it is such a magical thing to be a part of. It's so fun. I do it year round. So the thick wetsuits in the dead of winter and in my bathing suit in the summertime. And they're always changing. There's different waves that are coming in um, at different levels. And so in the springtime, we get tons of water and the dams are like open and stuff to avoid flooding. But then in the summer, it'll like drop almost 2.5 meters of water like less in the river. And so, which is so significant. And so, obviously, different parts of the river are working at different times. And it's such a cool, niche community to be a part of. And I love it. I love it so much.
It also sounds like an amazing metaphor, like having the things like flow past you, and you're just, you're able to maybe I'm attaching too much significance, but it sounds like a metaphor, right? That
No,
like
it
you are you,
does.
and the world is rushing by.
Well, it is. I've never been one to, do much yoga or meditation or anything like that, but learning how to river surf has been like the most grounding, um, meditative experience. Because you're in the middle of this huge, powerful body of water, and you are static, and everything is changing around you, and it is so like you feel so powerless and powerful at the same time, and it's just and it's deeply humbling, which is a great pair with being a musician, because we're always, being told, "Oh, so great, you sounded awesome," blah blah blah, and then you get into the river or the ocean, and you get slammed, and it's like, "Oh, I'm just a little human." Right. It's really humbling, which keeps me good.
Well, Mia Kelly, I hope you stay standing. I don't know.
I hope my brakes are fixed.
Yeah.
Thanks so much for having me.
Yeah, it's been a delight to get to know you.
Yeah, likewise. Thanks so much. It's been great chatting.
Mia Kelly is a singer-songwriter from the Ottawa-area, specifically Gatineau, Quebec. Her new album is called Big Time Roller Coaster Feeling. She joined us on the line from her van, which was at a repair shop in Gatineau. And you can read more about her at ncpr.org/northwards. Also see some pictures of the inside of that van.
Hell, I don't recall much of that summer meeting you. I recall August saw me turn into a dog.
Ethan, you'll be taking a minivan with your band on tour.
Yes. And I don't own this van. As a band, we do not own a van currently. At one point, we did. Our band was still pretty young. Well, this is a different band that's going on tour.
Not Spit Vision.
Not Spit Vision, Sunflower, my other band, one of my 3 bands. Along
with the Rolling Stones.
Yes, the Rolling Stones haven't called me back in a little while. I think they're getting irritated with me. So my band was just pretty much getting started, and we knew one of the things that we needed was a van. It's always been my dream to have one of those conversion vans, with a bench seat that folds out into a bed. Just for whatever reason, it's something I've always coveted. So around the time that I graduated college, this other band started, and my friend was moving out of the area. She was a single mom. She had this conversion van. She didn't need it anymore. She was trying to make some extra money for this move. So she said, "Hey, you're in a band. Do you want to buy this conversion van?" And I said, "Yes. How much do you want for it?" And she said, $500, which was the perfect price for a van that had almost no wear and tear on it. It had only been driven locally pretty much. So, it's probably still had like 90,000 miles on it. But like for a band, $500 for a van, it's crazy. We were very short-sighted. We got this van, and then we were broke, and we could no longer pay the registration fee. We couldn't pay to have it insured anymore. One of the members of our band who quit rather contentiously, the stuff was in his name, and he said, "I'm not paying for this anymore. You guys are on your own." The rest of us had no money at all. So what did we do? Mitch, we sold it for scrap. And to this day, I regret it, because I could have found the money to keep it on the road. But when you are making like $500 a week at your job, maybe I was probably making less than that, and keeping one vehicle on the road and everybody else in my band was in a similar financial position. We just like couldn't justify it. To this day, I still regret it because I'll probably never have another conversion van like that, and I miss it. So if you're out there, Vanny, I hope you're doing well.
And if you're out there and you have a conversion van that you're hoping to get rid of
For $500.
for $500,
I will buy it.
Would you go $600?
At this stage of my life, I would go so far as to pay $650.
All right.
But how short-sighted was that? So stupid. A
Yeah.
van for $500 is crazy.
And it's probably sitting someplace with the alto saxophone I sold when I was moving, when I decided that I had little to do with an alto saxophone in my mid-20s, and I would be better off with the $250 I got for it.
And where's that $250 now? Right.
Exactly. Well, on that sad note, Ethan, tell us who produces this program.
Northwards is an NCPR podcast production. The show is written, produced, and edited by Mitch Tyke with digital production supervision by me. I'm Ethan Shanty. Bill Hanel is our Director of Digital Services. Anna Williams-Bergen is our Digital Project Specialist. And our theme music is by the Wickmore Jazz Trio of Plattsburgh. To hear more conversations and support this show, visit ncpr.org/northwards. And you can email your suggestions for future conversations to mitch@ncpr.org. This is NCPR, North Country Public Radio.
Would you go with a school bus?
I would, actually.